Which AI really helps resellers make money? I tested ChatGPT, Claude AI, and Gemini to see which one was most accurate and what were the pros and cons of using each. If you've been wondering which AI will really help you make money reselling, I put these three to the test in the thrift store today. What I discovered will help you from making expensive mistakes. I'm about to show you which AI I found really helps resellers make money. First, I want to tell you right off the bat that Gemini stopped working halfway through this experiment. Right in the middle of testing, I hit a limit with Gemini because I didn't pay for the subscription. And while I pay for ChatGPT and did not hit a limit, with Claude, there's a workaround so that if you hit the limit with one chat, you're able to go in and create another one. So I was able to complete the searches for most of the items with ChatGPT and Claude, and I got through some of it with Gemini. But I'll take what information I did get from Gemini so that we can compare which of the prompts work best, which of these three AIs gave the most accurate information. Everyone is talking about using AI for reselling, whether you love it or hate it. And the assumption is that all of these AI models are basically the same. The common belief is just pick any AI, ask it about your items, and profit. But what actually happens when you're testing items when you're out at thrift stores or garage sales? In real-world scenarios, they have massive differences. Sometimes you'll find inaccuracies and limitations that can shut you down mid-sourcing, and completely different strengths that a lot of resellers don't even discover. Today, I'm showing my real testing session at the thrift store with real prompts and real items. You'll see the exact responses they gave, the moment Gemini failed, and which AI gave actual advice that was actionable and usable in the moment. Today, I'm going to walk you through each test, show you the real responses from each, reveal the limitations that I discovered, so you can decide which AI is best for different reselling scenarios. No hype, no affiliate links, just an honest review of each of these with the same prompts. Let's take a little aside to me in the car talking about getting my AI set up and ready to go into the thrift store. I've been doing a few videos about using AI for reselling and figuring out what to pick up and what not to pick up when you're out at garage sales and thrift stores. And I've gotten a lot of questions about which AI to use. And I've gotten the question, how do you know that it's really accurate information? And those are great questions because it's true. Sometimes AI doesn't give you the it doesn't always give accurate information, but I put that with a caveat because sometimes we're not asking the right prompts because it will tell you what you're asking for. And if you're asking it to give you the proof, like where did it find this information? Does it still give inaccurate information? Sometimes, but the information that it does give you with maybe some inaccurate stuff mixed in it's still like so much information. It's so much good information that the times where it might be inaccurate in certain ways, I think the accuracy outweighs the inaccuracy, especially if you're asking the right prompts and asking for the proof and just using the right methods. And with anything, it's going to get better. As we've seen with AI, I mean, come on, if you've ever done an AI image, like where you've asked it to make an image, just a few months ago, you'd ask it to make a person and there would be like 6 fingers and 2 ears. And now it can make like an animation or a video of a person. So that inaccuracy is just going to it's going to get better and better and better. And so being able to be comfortable with it now and know that, yeah, there's going to be some little inaccuracies here and there, but how to adjust for that, but just to say like, oh, it was inaccurate for this one thing, I'm never using it, I'm not going to use it, like, okay, that's your call. I'm on my way to the thrift store and I am going to I'm going to be using ChatGPT. There's multiple versions on ChatGPT, which I'm going to show you because that's something else that a friend of mine who does AI stuff way way more in depth than I do. I was like, you're using he said the wrong version, or that if you use the other version, it's better. So I'll show you the difference. And then I'm going to also use Claude. And I haven't used Gemini, so maybe I'll throw it into Gemini too. But I'm going to ask on the way, what's the best prompts that I could be asking AI if these are the kinds of things that I want to get, and I want to make sure the information I'm getting back is accurate. So I am going to ask AI to come up with the prompts for me. And then as you go, like if you do this and you are asking the prompts and you're not getting the information, just tweak it. Just be like, oh, you know what? I also need to know this. And I also, just because you ask one question doesn't mean, oh, it didn't give me what I wanted. Fail. No, tweak it, until you get what you want, until you're getting the kinds of answers that are helpful to you. I started with the same items and the same questions across all 3 AI platforms. Same items, same prompts. These are the prompts that I fed into each of the AI search engines. What is the item? How much does it typically sell for on eBay? What is the sell-through rate? Is it likely to sell quickly or slowly? What is the item's condition? And are there any unique features or branding that add to its value? I decided to start with something easy and just picked one item. I shared the front of this shirt and I shared the tag. ChatGPT kept it short and sweet. It gave me the name of the item, the price point, about a 10 to 15% sell-through rate, let me know it was a slow seller and that it had some condition issues with pilling, and that it was a basic city graphic, fast fashion brand. Using this information, I knew that this was something I did not want to pick up. I do realize now after the fact why ChatGPT's answers were so short, because I did tell it to keep its answers succinct, and I didn't put that into the others. Next, I put the same pictures into Claude, and I got a lot of information. Immediately, it told me it was an H&M New York hoodie. It gave me all the identification information. It told me on eBay, it's typically selling for between $10 and $25, and that it has likely a low sell-through rate. This item is likely to sell slow, it says. It says that the hoodie appears to be in fair to good pre-owned condition. And again, this one also noticed the pilling on the fabric. And then it went further into the logo and the graphic and the brand. On Gemini, again, dropped the same pictures in. This time, even with the tag with the logo, it didn't identify it as an H&M brand or even talk about what the logo meant. On Gemini, it went into what this type of shirt with the New York font on it would sell for depending on the quality and the style. So it gave a few different breakdowns for that. And the sell-through rate, it just based it off of New York City merch and not necessarily off what the item actually was. So as I was reading through this, it said that it was a moderately quick seller, which was very different from what ChatGPT and Claude said. And it did not notice the condition issues, which also Claude and ChatGPT did. Once I realized that it did not recognize the brand and wasn't narrowing it down as much as I wanted, I asked it, did you search the shirt by the tag? And then it did go back through and search it by the tag, and it found the brand. And then Gemini updated its analysis, but even with the updated analysis, it didn't give the same kind of in detail information that was helpful. It was still pretty generic. So those are the breakdowns from the different AI chatbots that I used. But the important thing is, were they accurate? Now, when I went and searched on eBay, there were none that were sold. There were multiple different ones across eBay, Poshmark, Depop, different sites, and I was able to find all these different ones on different sites, all ranging from anywhere from $10 to like $165, and the majority of them were under $20. I did ask ChatGPT, how does it get its sell-through rate when it's not actually able to analyze the solds? Because I wanted to figure out where it's getting that sell-through rate, because it did seem pretty accurate. And ChatGPT told me that it goes into analyzing a lot of other data based on selling trends and other information that is in its database. So while it can be really accurate, it's always good to double check. So if you're at the thrift store and you're putting something in your cart based on that sell-through rate, double check it to make sure. But as we go on, you'll see most of the time it's fairly accurate in which way it leans as far as a slow seller or a slow sell-through rate or something that's more valuable. And as you saw, the Gemini app didn't really give me a lot of useful information. It gave me a very generic overview of New York branded sweatshirts. And this accuracy gap between Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude matters because good identification can pay for months of whichever AI you choose to go in on for a subscription. But accuracy without that reliability means nothing. Accuracy also doesn't mean anything when the AI that you're using has severe limitations that the others just don't. So while I tested these three on individual items, I wanted to put it to the test with items that are in a big lot. I want it to be able to take an image of multiple items and use my prompts and break down all of those items in one go. And one of these chatbots was unable to do this. The next test that I gave all three of these chatbots was I went to the book section, I took a picture of a whole shelf of books, and I asked it to go through each book and answer all of those prompts. This is the image of the bookshelf that I put into all three of these chatbots. ChatGPT gave me a list with the title, the estimated price it could sell for, the sell-through rate, whether it was a slow, fast, moderate seller, and what basically the book is. And it listed each of those so I could see fairly quickly which things would be fast sellers or slow sellers. And I could quickly see there was maybe one that would be worth picking up. Claude gave me a list of the items, and then it broke it down a little differently. It broke it down by eBay selling prices, and it lotted them by higher value books, $10 to $30, and average books. Then it went through the sell-through rate. There were things I liked about this. I liked that it lotted them by which ones it thought were higher value books versus lower value books. But what I didn't like is that it did not tell me for each one if it was going to be a slow seller, moderate, or fast. And when it came to Gemini, it just didn't do it. It said that it did not have the capability of looking at the whole picture and breaking it down book by book. So while ChatGPT and Claude both have their limits in different ways, using Gemini would be a huge hindrance if I was going to have to look these up one by one. And with it already giving me the issue where I reached a limit and couldn't upload anymore, and then having to look things up one item at a time, that's going to slow you down so much when you're out competitively shopping at thrift stores or garage sales. And this is why free tools often cost you more than paid ones, because they can fail you when you need them most. That reliability matters. But what about the quality of advice that you get when these tools are working? Generic advice is worthless in reselling. You need specific, actionable insights that can directly translate into profit. And that's why I compared how each of these AIs handled identical reselling scenarios. But right now, looking at which one is the front runner of them all and which one seriously lacks the capability to keep up with what the others are able to do. You want to be able to choose the AI that gives you that edge in every situation. So if you're sticking with Gemini, knowing that it's giving you generic advice, that you're going to have to look things up one at a time, and then once you've reached your limit for the day, you won't be able to use it anymore unless you pay for their service. It might not be the one that you want to choose. So now we're looking at ChatGPT and Claude AI. In reselling, you need to be able to make quick decisions, especially in the age of AI when a lot of resellers are starting to use these tools. And while speed matters, accuracy is also very important. I tested how fast the remaining 2 AI search engines were able to look up this leather Harley-Davidson bag that I found for $15 at Goodwill. I wanted to know if faster was going to equal better results. Claude was a little bit faster than ChatGPT was, but I feel like the information that I got from ChatGPT was a lot more in-depth. It broke down what it was, the typical sold price on eBay, how quickly it might sell, and it was able to tell pretty accurately what the condition of it was from the photos. It also gave me pointers for things that I should add to my listing to make it more enticing to buyers. Claude did a really good job as well. It did say that it was going to be a little bit slower seller than what ChatGPT thought, and it did give a few limiting factors that might make it sell a little slower. So I guess the proof will be in the pudding when it actually sells. I went ahead and looked this up, and I couldn't find any exactly like this one up for sale still on eBay, but I did find 3 sold. So to me, that makes it look like it's got a pretty good sell-through rate when I can't find any up for sale and the 3 that I did find were sold. So from what I know about reselling, that's a pretty good sign that this is a desirable item that will probably sell pretty quickly. All 3 that sold were in pre-owned condition. One sold for $150, one sold for $90, and the other sold for $112. So I think for $15, it was a really good pickup, and both Claude AI and ChatGPT gave me really good information. Speed and quality are important, but which AI should you use for your reselling business? There's no perfect AI for reselling, but there's definitely a clear winner for me in most reselling scenarios. I felt like ChatGPT gave me better analysis overall, and the responses it gave directly translated into the profits that I might be able to expect from the items I was picking up. But I felt like Claude and ChatGPT were both neck and neck, and unless Gemini really catches up to speed, I probably wouldn't use it. But here's my real strategy. I use ChatGPT as my first go-to AI search engine with those prompts. And up at the top next to ChatGPT, there's a drop-down, and I'm using the version 03, uses advanced reasoning, because it goes a little deeper. So sometimes that takes a little bit longer because it's really digging into the web to find out the best, most accurate information possible. If you're using GPT 4.0, then it might not give you as detailed and accurate information. And I want to shout out to my friend Jeff for pointing this out to me for one of my last videos. And while I don't pay for Claude AI, what I'll do is I'll drop my images into ChatGPT, and then I'll drop them into Claude AI as well and compare the information that it's giving. And because I'm not paying for the Claude subscription, it does hit a wall after a certain time and says, you can't add any more to this chat. But I just go and open up a new chat and start in that one again. So that's the only thing there that really slows me down. And if I find something there that both of those sites are saying, this is a good pickup, this is something you might want to go ahead and get, at that point, if I'm holding it or it's in my cart, I can go over to a Google image search and double check if I really feel like this is something I'm not too sure about picking up. I think that resellers that are suggesting you use one or the other are really missing the boat, because there are all these tools and there's no rule saying you have to pick one. Use ChatGPT, use Claude, use Google image search, use eBay's image search, and compile that information. If you've got the time and you don't have someone breathing down your neck at the garage sale trying to figure out if you're wanting to buy this box of mugs or Legos or whatever it is, then take the time to look at multiple sites. And if you're in the thrift store, put it in your cart. Look at ChatGPT, look at Claude, do the Google image search, do the eBay search, and get as much information as you can to make you the most effective and profitable reseller that you can. I talk a lot about diversifying the kinds of things we sell, diversifying the different places you make money from. And this is no different. Diversify and use all the tools that you have available to you to make you the most successful that you can be. Let's be real about what we learned. ChatGPT dominated. It was accurate. It was profit focused. It gave me really good information about how fast something might sell. And it was able to identify condition issues just by looking at the pictures. Claude was a serious contender in this race. And Gemini just failed when I needed it the most and when I needed it to look at a lot of different items. The quality differences between these were massive. We're talking about generic advice versus very detailed analysis. You now know which AI might be worth the investment and which one might leave you hanging mid-thrift trip. No more guessing. And as always, AI is moving fast, so this information could change in a day, a week, a month, a year. But here's my final insight. Don't put all your eggs in one AI basket. Use ChatGPT as your primary. Keep Claude as your backup. Use Google Lens and search that image and drop it into eBay too. Checking on all these different platforms will help you so much to pick up things that are going to be profitable and to leave behind things that might take a really long time to sell. The specific prompts that I used, I'm going to leave in the description below, and I'd love to hear the prompts you like to use in the comments section. And when I was out today, I took a lot more pictures to compare. It was going to make this video way too long. So if you're interested in seeing the other items that I went out and took pictures of, lots of mugs, other clothes, books, lots and lots of different things. And if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, then make sure you've subscribed and hit the notification bell so you know when I put out new videos. The AI revolution in reselling is real, and you want to be on the front end of this. The tools are changing. It's not always perfect, but it's getting better every single day. And the more comfortable you can get with this right now, then you'll be so much further ahead when things are progressing and getting better and better. And now you've got this information, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to get onto the AI bandwagon? Or are you going to keep looking things up one item at a time, while other resellers are zipping past you, scooping up great deals for big profits?